guys, I'm going to do a little video now about some of my thoughts and observations about Derby City Classic 2024 edition. It's only Tuesday, but I'm probably not going to go back down there this week. Some of the things that I've noticed are, well, they're all stupid, so I'm not going to say some of them are. They're all pretty stupid, just me for the most part. Every year it seems like there's what I just call it like a theme of Derby City. For example, some years it seemed like everybody's shooting bank shots really hard. These are usually the years after like John Brumback has won it. Some years it seemed like everybody's shooting really softly or two-way shots, like the years after Federer's won it. This year, if I had to pick a theme, the theme was it was a bunch of younger people. The crowd just seemed younger than it has to be in the past. And that, makes sense because old people die off and luckily younger players are entering the game. So that's cool. We want new players to come into the game. I kind of wish some of the younger players wouldn't make as many damn shots as they make, but good for them, I guess. Along with them being younger, another thing that I noticed is that I didn't recognize very many people compared to previous years. It's not like I know everybody in the world, okay? It'd be weird if I knew everybody, even at the tournament, not just in the world, not in the world. But, you see somebody, especially if you see them every year, you start to just recognize them. They look familiar to you. And this year I didn't get a lot of that. They're the people that I know, and then there'd be a bunch of, kind of random strangers to me. That's what it seemed like. So this crowd seemed to be younger and not as familiar to me. If I had to pick a theme, then that would probably be the theme for this year's Derby City Classic for me is, who are these people? Who are all these young kids and strangers showing up? It didn't seem as crowded this year as it has in the past, and that's probably because they sold that early and they'd already told people there aren't going to be any online register or any in-person registrations. So maybe some people already knew they weren't going to get in, so they didn't bother to show up. It did not seem as crowded, like walking from the restroom back to the tournament room, stuff like that. It didn't seem really as like you're having to fight your way through it anymore. And I guess that was good. I think the number of players in the tournament, I think that's, still way up there. 500 or close to 500. It just didn't seem as crowded. So I have mentioned in many of my videos how impressed I've always been with John Moore, how he switched from being a world-class player right-handed to being a world-class player left-handed. He had some kind of an injury or something that happened, and I'm not a doctor, and I don't know John particularly well, or shit at all. Before Sunday, I'd only ever met him one time and never really talked to him. I stopped him on Sunday because I just wanted to tell him how impressed I've always been that he made that switch so successfully. And I've been curious if as a kid, had he always been a little bit ambidextrous? Or did he more start from scratch? And he told me when he was 17 and started getting those neck problems that he switched to left-handed from scratch. He switched from scratch. And so that just impressed me even more. That not only did he make that transition successfully, very successfully, but he started at a fairly old age from scratch. And it's not a naturally ambidextrous person. So very impressive. My first round match in bank pool, Jesus Atencio, was supposed to be on table 8. And I go to table 8, and there's 4 or 5 people messing with wrenches and stuff on that table. There's something wrong with the table. I don't think it was just out of level. I think the ball return wasn't working right or something. But they ended up moving us to table 25 upstairs. And I think last year I mentioned a little bit of trivia that I've never lost a match on table 5 at Derby. I've never won a match on table 25 at Derby. This was the third match that I've played on table 25, and I realize it's a different physical table every year, but in that spot, I've never won a match on table 25 at Derby. So if I have a good luck number for that tournament, it's 5. If I have a bad luck number, it's 25. And Jesus was going to beat me anyway, especially the way he was playing. So I'm not blaming the table, and I'm not particularly that superstitious anyway. When I played my one pocket match, I only played the one pocket match on Sunday. I had said I probably was not going to buy back once I lost. I did not buy back. So I played, went to the hill, and I lost. At one point during the match, I had to get out my extension. Oops, there was a kiss on that shot. I had to shoot. I had to get out my extension. I had a shot about maybe about like that. I didn't want to get the bridge for some reason, so I got my extension. Put it on, shot the shot, took it off, and continued to play from that point on. When I was done with our match, when our match was over with, so this guy he must be the most popular guy ever, because he had like 30 people watching his match. And they were watching his match. They weren't watching him and me. Oh man, this guy Dave, that's going to be a good match. No, they were watching him and rooting for him. I had one guy, one of my YouTube subscribers, he wasn't even watching my match half the time. He was watching something else. That's fine. I'm kind of like a lone wolf. I usually tell people, no, don't watch me play. I put enough pressure on myself. My brother-in-law threatens to come and watch me play every year. And I'm like, no, please don't. None of my girlfriends, I ever let them, well, I don't want to say let. I asked them politely to please not go to the tournament and watch me play. But anyway, so when we get done, all 30 to 100 of his friends that have been watching jump up and basically mob me, asking about my cue. I guess they had been in some discussions about what kind of a cue is it, and one guy's like, well, it's a Southwest. It looks like Southwest to me, that type of deal. And they're like, okay, probably is. But then I put the extension on for that one shot. And it melted everyone's brain, because you typically can't put an extension on a Southwest. So that's what they came up to ask me. What kind of cue is it? It's a Southwest. Yeah, but you have an extension. Yes, I know. Who did the extension for you? I told them Joe Blackburn downstairs at this tournament like 2 years ago put this on. I described a little bit about, what Joe had to do for this to be able to fit the extension, how long it took. So it didn't take very long at all. I handed this to Joe, walked down to the Omega booth, bought a Predator extension, and came back. And Joe said, you're done. It's done. 15, 20 minutes is all it took. I told him I didn't recall how much it cost. I said if I had to guess, it was probably about $100 for Joe Blackburn to thread the inside of this barbecue to accept this extension fitting. So they were happy with that, and they were happy with that. There wasn't like when I did a YouTube video about getting this extension fitting put on, I'm getting nasty comments and almost death threats for modifying a Southwest and all this and that. All these people, well, oh, that's cool, that's cool. They understand that it's my cue. And I can do whatever I want to it. I can bedazzle the thing, or I could put an extension on it, I could spray paint it, whatever I want. It's my cue. But I put an extension fitting on it, I made the cue more useful to me. As a shorter person, sometimes I need that extra length to get an extension. So most people didn't have any problem with it, and I appreciate that, because I did run into some Southwest purists who are they're like, well, if you're going to ruin the cue, why don't you just give it away? If you're going to ruin the cue, why don't you just make a bonfire and burn it? I'll screw you guys. How's that sound? My damn cue. So the reason I'm doing this is this shot is the last shot that I played against Tony Chohan on Friday. It was my last shot of the Derby City Bank tournament, round 2. Tony gave me a lot of opportunities, way more opportunities than Jesus did. And the opportunities that Tony gave me were usually of pretty easy shots. Now, this is not a 100% make shot for me, but it's up there. It's 95 or so. But I missed it against Tony. And maybe a part of that was nerves or whatever. I didn't feel like it was. I felt like, even on a 95% make, you're going to miss one every now and then. And I just happened to miss one when I played Tony. Almost all the misses I had against him were what I would consider an easy shot, a 75% make or better. And if it's 75% make, you're going to miss it a quarter of the time. And it's, all my misses of easy shots all piled up together on Friday in that one match. And yeah, that sucked. And if I want to talk about my Derby City tournament, disappointments or anything like that, that's my disappointment, is how badly I played when I played Tony and missing those shots that should be very high percentage for me. And normally are very high percentage for me. But I did miss them, so I had to start practicing a little bit of what I preached. I did a video, I don't remember, sometime in the last 85 years, about practicing the shots that you're already pretty good at, but you want to get better at them. You want to be consistent at them. So let's practice this cross right here instead of 3-rail and a 3-ball into this pocket or something. Because I'm not going to shoot a 3-railer into this pocket very often. But this shot right here, I'm going to shoot it every damn time it comes up. And if you're going to shoot a shot every damn time it comes up, you ought to be pretty close to 100% on it. And if you're not, then you should practice it. Even though it's boring, practice a shot like this. After I missed this shot against Tony, when I got home later on Friday night, I shot it. Well, I told one of my YouTube friends, I finally found his name, that I bet I can make that shot 100 times in a row. Yet I missed it, when it was important. And I came home and I made it 50 times in a row. I stopped because I was actually getting sore from doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. But I made it 50 times in a row, which is reasonable for a shot that is, in theory, that high of a percentage for me. There's another miss. See what happens? You're going to miss every now and then. You're going to miss every now and then. Don't have to like it, but it's going to happen. So I was setting this damn thing up until that either never happens or doesn't happen nearly as often. Even though it's boring, and even though there's definitely a part of me screaming, Dave, you should be practicing something else that's, a little bit more difficult. Well, if I didn't need to practice this shot, I would have made it Friday night. That's my thoughts on it. I don't think I mentioned that I did meet, maybe like a half dozen different YouTube subscribers. So that was pretty cool. One guy I met before last year, This year I learned his name, hey. And then all the other ones, I'd just be walking from whatever place to place. And then I heard somebody go, "Hey, Dave." "What? Are you Dave?" "Yeah." "Hey, I really enjoy your videos." "Well, I really enjoy hearing that some people really enjoy my videos." Well, it was very cool. Hi to all you guys. I think I remember most of your names, but I don't necessarily know your, your YouTube handles and stuff like that. So very cool. So how's none of this? See? See? If I didn't need to practice this shot, I would have made it on Friday, and I would not have missed it. What, 3 times here since I started the camera? Even though one was a kiss. Oh, I'm not sure that counts as much. Seems like I either make it in the heart of the pocket or I miss it. Might be a kiss on this shot too. But I'm gonna stop the video. I think I said everything I was gonna say. Yeah, I know I did. And if I didn't, then I've got a camera so I could add on or whatever. Thanks, guys.